Hello folks, welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. The other day I did a short video talking about Usyk getting towards the end of his career and mentioning that he had 2 fights remaining. And I've seen a number of the interviews now that Oleksandr Usyk has given to a variety of outlets, TNT Sports and Talk Sport, and there may be another, but I can't recall. And apologies to whoever the videographers were. If there was another one and I haven't mentioned you, I'm sorry. So I thought what I would do today is just go through some of the topics that Usyk was asked about and what his answers are. If you like, it's a one-stop shop so that you have a pretty good idea by looking at this video what Usyk has said. So, without further ado, and in no particular order, he was asked again about who his toughest opponent was at heavyweight. And he reiterated something that he said before, and it's Derek Chisora. And he said, and it's clear that he likes Derek Chisora because he looked at the camera and he said something, you know, Derek, my friend, you know. But he said that Derek Chisora was his toughest opponent because Derek was all heart. He said, "Very terrible man." You know, I'm sort of, you know, not trying to mock his accent at all. His English is light years better than any other language I could speak. And he said that because Chisora was all heart. And, you know, he's sort of, in other words, he's got that dog in the fight. It was really interesting because a number of us have said that Chisora provided, if you like, the blueprint of how to tackle Usyk at heavyweight. Now, having a blueprint and turning that blueprint into a finished product is, you know, easier said than done, right? Because no one's been able to build on the blueprint that Chisora laid out for us, right? You know, Anthony Joshua couldn't, Tyson Fury couldn't, Daniel Dubois couldn't, most certainly couldn't, right? Interesting, though, that he still thinks that Chisora was his toughest opponent. So, you know, big up to Chisora, you know, when you've got the heavyweight champion of the world saying that, you know, this older fighter, somebody who many of us think of as a sort of a gatekeeper, had given him his toughest fight. Yeah, that's something to sort of, you know, feather in Chisora's cap, isn't it, really? He was asked about whether or not he thought that his good friend Tyson Fury, you know, greedy belly, had really retired. And he doesn't think so. And he explained why he doesn't think so. He said that, you know, he trains every single day. He, whether it's boxing or whether it's CrossFit or whether it's running, he trains every single day, not just when he's in camp. Now, he said that it becomes addictive. And he thinks that that's one of the reasons why Tyson Fury won't retire, that Tyson Fury will come back, is the boxing and the training is addictive. Now, I don't think that Tyson Fury trains every single day. I think it's not sort of being disrespectful to Tyson Fury to suggest that he doesn't live that same professional athlete life that Oleksandr Usyk lives. But I'm sure that boxing is a super important part of Tyson Fury's life, and that the training is all part and parcel of that. And of course, there's many other reasons as well: money, public adulation, ego, etc. But Usyk definitely thinks that Fury is going to come back out of his 5th retirement. So, you know, we might well see that happening. Excuse me, please. He was asked about who he thought would win in the upcoming Dubois-Parker fight. And it's interesting, if you listen carefully, he doesn't say, "I think so-and-so will win." What he says is, "My team has done some analysis and has got some data, and my team," he's passed a piece of paper, which we don't see what's on the paper, but it's probably a spreadsheet or some sort of numerical calculations. He thinks that his team thinks, correct myself there, that there's a 52% chance that Daniel Dubois wins and a 48% chance that Joseph Parker wins. So it's tighter than the odds that I get here in Canada would be. And it was quite interesting. And it's what he didn't say that really sort of, piqued my attention. He doesn't personally say, I think either person's going to win. It was his collective team's approach. When he was asked about Daniel Dubois coming into the ring after the second defeat that he handed Tyson Fury, it was also very interesting. In fact, it was beeped twice, that beep, beep, when something, rude or swear word or whatever is said. And I listened to it twice to make sure that I wasn't sort of listening to something else that my phone was doing or whatever. And then he said, inside his own head, he was thinking, get out of here. But what he said out of his mouth was, Mr. Turkey, can you please make this fight? And so it's quite clear that he was somewhat irritated by Dubois coming into the ring. And as I've said before, I thought it was terribly ill-advised of Dubois to do that. And I really don't think, honestly, that Daniel Dubois has the intellectual wherewithal to decide himself, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to do this, that, and the other. I strongly believe that somebody wound him up, whether it was his dad or possibly his trainer, less likely, I think, probably his dad or Frank Warren, maybe somebody else, who sort of wound him up, pointed him in the direction, said, you go up there and you say this, that, because I thought it was just very poor timing. He snatched the mic from Adi, who was working for DAZN, and sort of, got right into Usyk's face at a time when Usyk had just won against Tyson Fury, and a time when he should have been treated with the utmost respect, right? I can think of many other champions who at that precise moment would have simply leveled Dubois there and then. You imagine Mike Tyson, somebody getting in Tyson's face when he's still full of endorphins, having won, a major fight, and somebody's in his face aggressive like that. Or Larry Holmes, or George Foreman, or heaven forbid, can you imagine somebody getting in Sonny Liston's face after Sonny Liston had wiped the floor with Floyd Patterson? I mean, I'll wipe the floor with you as well. So, and you already know my views on that, the way that Usyk was treated in that interview. I mean, Adi, very first thing he did was stick the microphone. What do you think of the scorecards? Oh, ridiculous thing to say. I mean, again, the disrespect that's shown to Oleksandr Usyk is mind-boggling. I mean, I get there's sort of, patriotism, you're all Brits and you're rooting for the Brit. But put some respect on Usyk's name. That's my view. I won't vent about that further. You all know that I'm a big Oleksandr Usyk fan, and in part not just because of what he does in the ring, but because of the way he comports himself out of the ring. He's very humble, very respectful, doesn't say bad things about people, doesn't trash talk. Honestly, great role model. If I ran across a kid who was interested in getting into boxing and was looking for a role model, I mean, the name that's top of my mind is, well, you model yourself on Oleksandr Usyk. You live the life, train every day, keep your mouth shut, and let your hands do the talking in the ring. So, hey, that's just me. So there we go. I think that's sort of covered off all the things that Usyk has said. I got to say one thing, and it sounds sort of like I'm telling somebody else how to do their job, which I'm most certainly not. But one of the interviewers, and it wasn't the TalkSport fellow, maybe it was the TNT fellow, sort of seemed to have a list, if you like, of questions, and just was there to read them off. Because when Usyk said that he was looking for maybe a show fight with Alex Pereira, There was no follow-up question. Like really, were you suddenly roped in at the last minute and given a list of questions to ask? Um, okay, I'm going to take it from the paper to my mouth to his ears without going through my brain, because if you're there and you're interviewing the world heavyweight champion, and he's saying, well, I'd fight the winner of Dubois Parker, and yeah, maybe a show fight with Alex Pereira. Wouldn't you ask a follow-up question like, oh, really? What motivates you to do that? Are you looking to do some crossover stuff, or do you know Pereira? Is there is this like why? Sort of an odd thing maybe for Oleksandr Usyk to do. Hey, no judgment. You've completed boxing. You want to have a show fight with somebody? Great. I mean, Muhammad Ali did it with a Japanese wrestler whose name I forget. It was a terrible fight. The Japanese guy laid on the floor and kicked Ali's legs. In fact, Ali had to go to hospital. He had blood clots in his leg from that. It's long time ago. But the point is, Ali had nothing left to prove in boxing, right? And this is like if Usyk wants to fight, I don't know, Ngannou. Yeah, fill your boots. You don't know boxing anything. You've completed everything. There was one other thing which I'm really pleased to hear. When he was asked about whether or not he wanted to go back to cruiserweight, he said that his team, based on the advice of his team, he's decided he's not doing that. And I'm really pleased. I listened to Russ Amber, who was asked a question about that. And Russ Amber was absolutely adamant, no. It would be dangerous for him to lose all that weight and go back down and then fight at cruiserweight. Because, of course, Usyk has gained solid muscle. He hasn't sort of, stood at the Tim Hortons donut line and eating Boston creams, which, sadly, I appear to have done so. No, Usyk has gained it properly. And then to lose all that weight and fight somebody like Jai Opetaia, as exciting a fight as that would be potentially very unhealthy for Usyk to do. And Russ Amber was saying that he would like jump up and down and absolutely vigorously oppose that. So clearly, that the team has had this conversation and Usyk has followed the advice of his team. So that's good news. When he was asked about the Bridgerweight title on the TalkSport fellow asked him, do you have any interest in being a 3-weight world champion? Usyk was sort of, no, I'm cruiserweight, I'm heavyweight. It's almost like he sort of course, he knew about the Bridgerweight, but he wasn't putting a lot of weight on it. Terrible pun, sorry, just came out of my mouth. He said, it's just WBC, and then somebody else said apparently the WBO recognized that, but Usyk didn't sort of seem to bite on that. And again, I think that's good. I mean, that's sort of 225 is the max, right? Or 224.9 or whatever it is. I'm not sure if actually anybody is fighting at Bridgerweight anymore, really. I mean, Lawrence Okoli has moved up. I'm not sure who is the Bridgerweight. It doesn't seem to have gotten a lot of traction, but I don't see the point in Usyk doing that. So yeah, there we are. That's pretty much the synopsis of all the questions that Oleksandr Usyk was asked. He was in London, and a number of different people had sort of reeled in and asked him some version of the same questions. But again, Usyk just strikes me as just one hell of a nice guy. I wish him all the best. I really hope that his next 2 fights are victories for him, and then he can sail off into the sunset. I wish he was younger, but then he could have gathered a few more top 10s. But he's 38 now, be 39 next January. Yeah, let's not see him take losses at the very tail end of his career, so that somebody can sort of just say, oh yeah, well I beat Oleksandr Usyk. Well, yeah, you wouldn't have beaten him when he was in his prime. Before I go, he did say that he thought the next star in boxing, the next undisputed star, would be Moses Utama. He spoke very, very highly of Moses Utama. And I mean, everybody has been speaking very high of Moses Utama. I've just put a lot of weight when the world heavyweight champion who clearly knows his stuff, speaks favorably about that. Yeah, so I think Usyk is a man worth listening to. Okie dokie, folks. That's all for the moment. Please like, please share, please subscribe, join in the comments. Really, awesomely good stuff. And have a fabulous day wherever in the world you are. Cheers. Bye-bye.